Koroni, and my pronouns are he, they, and this piece is called James is a Pussy. And in this piece, so I'm James. And I come from a divorced family. My mom's home was the Mormon home, and my dad's an Iranian immigrant, and my stepmother's a Vietnamese immigrant. So I had an immigrant home on one side and a very conservative home on the other side. Very different forms of conservative that I grew up with. And in my childhood, I didn't have very much access to queer culture. So when I was 16, really there was only AOL Instant Messenger that I could use to do ASL. If you don't know, age, sex, location, who you are. And it kind of, I was actually thinking on the way here, I was like, did we put photos or did we just meet up with people? With those three things. Okay, so anyway, thinking back on that, that was like my window as a 16-year-old, because I got a car and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna meet these people because I really need to have sex. And so I specifically remember 3 different experiences because they all had a food component. And the first experience that I recall was I met up with this guy, we got to his house, we had sex, and afterwards, like, you know that iconic cigarettes like situation? He only wanted to have like bubblegum flavored gum after sex. Which I just thought was so strange, but I was like, okay, I like that gum, sure. And the next experience I recall was this guy on AOL Messenger said, I'm Persian too. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. We should meet up. So we did, and when I got to his house, there was security detail. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I got up to his apartment and he was just like, okay, I'm the current Iranian prince, exiled after the revolution. And I was like, okay, cool. Didn't expect that, of course. And he's like, and my former lover died in a horse riding accident, and I'm looking for a new lover. I just want to have sex. So we had the sex. And during sex, he would like reach over to the bedside table and grab chocolates and like chew them and then baby bird them into my mouth. Oh my God. I had so much facial hair. Oh, just remember how much my face burned. Anyway, that was experience. And the third one actually was not AOL Instant Messenger, but I got a little braver and I would go to outside of Rage, this gay bar on Santa Monica Boulevard. I would just stand outside and wait for the bouncer to be checking people in and just go like, okay, I'm in and I'm gonna dance with a bunch of older men. And there was this one guy who thought he was being cute and impressing me by saying, I'm a doctor, while we were dancing together, and I was like, I don't care, I'd pie you in the face. I was 17. That to me was a good comeback. And he got my number, I got to his house, I guess I always go to their place. And then when he opened the door to his house, there was a table set up with 6 pies. And he's like, let's do this. So he gets naked, sits on a chair. I just like put the pies all over his naked body. It was really hot. So yeah, I guess at the time of my life I was really laser focused on dick. So when I turned 18, I was like, I have to get out of here. So I packed my car and ran away from my family. Not because I didn't love them, but because they didn't know how to love me. So I lived in San Francisco for about a year before I got the call that my dad had cancer and was not going to have much longer to live. So I took my life back home so I could spend more time with my dad, moved in with my dad. And one day in the kitchen, my stepmother came up to me and said, James, I don't mean to offend you, but are you gay? And I just nodded. And she said, I'm not going to tell your father, you have to. And I never told him. And at the funeral, my mother and my sisters approached me and said, your stepmother has been telling everyone that you're gay. Is this true? And I just nodded. And I was outed at my dad's funeral by my stepmother to my whole family. It took me 10 years of running away from my family. I really felt boxed in. But that's why it's so important that we have a chosen family to help fish us out of those tough years.
Come on, James. Come on out. Come on in the box.